pause this broadcast for a special news bulletin. In his speech on Thursday, the president said he remains cautious but optimistic regarding the recent alien visitation. He urged all citizens to avoid taking any actions that may seem aggressive, such as discharging firearms or making lewd gestures.
Yeah, I'm back, baby. Shake it, baby. Oh, yeah.
It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. I'll touch you if you touch me. Don't talk, drop to your knees, and I'll show you what I mean.
Back in action, back from E3, got video game reviews. Yes, how are you, Mike, today?
Fantastic, great as always.
I figured as much. We're talking about a game that, for all intents and purposes, should not be able to be reviewed. Duke Nukem Forever for the 360, PS3, PC. Wow, it's here. I'm lost for words, sir.
It's every bit as dated as you'd think.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a lot of outlets reviewing this game as if it's a full price game coming out in 2011. Oh wait, it is. So I mean, by all intents and purposes, they are allowed to make their past judgments based on that. Which I think a lot of like Duke Nukem purists like myself is what they're kind of getting upset about, is the fact that you're like, oh man, you're looking at the multiplayer in this game. The multiplayer is a joke. This is Duke Nukem Forever. It's the Duke.
It's not a complete joke though. That's the thing. Like everybody's writing off the multiplayer. I mean, there's some pretty cool stuff. Like you get the My Pad section or whatever it is. That you basically unlock things while you're playing. In multiplayer, you can change the way that your character looks. You can add things to your house or your mansion or whatever it is. Like it's not just literally like Rogue Warrior or something where you jump on, you play your matches, and you're done. There is at least a little bit of something there. But
we just compared Rogue Warrior and Duke. That's not good.
Rogue Warrior is literally the only game I've ever jumped.
The worst game
I've ever jumped online, and there's been no one playing. I was the only person playing Rogue Warrior. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. It's alright. But Duke Nukem Forever, it's all about the campaign. We've waited 14 years going on. And the best way I can put it is, if you like Duke Nukem, if you like the character, you like the jokes, the voice, the whole what you have there, you will enjoy this game. Should you pay $60 for this game is what we're here to decide, I guess, pretty much. It's a solid rental in that once you beat the main campaign, not a whole lot of replayability. If you are a fan of Duke, again, depends on your levels of fandom. When you do complete the game, you do unlock an extras section that is excellent. You get a Duke soundboard, you get a timeline of the production of the game.
You get all the E3 videos as well.
And gameplay videos throughout.
Yeah.
And I stand by 2001 Duke Nukem Forever being it's my favorite Duke Nukem Forever.
Most people,
there's 4 different ones.
Yeah.
Which is really, really neat. And the game itself breaks up the action, as it were, with like role-playing segments where you play as Duke, you're in a bar or a strip club, you're interacting with stuff, and that's how you increase your health bar or your ego by interacting with things for the first time. There's pinball machines, air hockey, a lot of distractions in the game, which is nice. As a shooter, though, purely on the mechanics of the game, it is very dated. But there are some things that they did to update this Duke Nukem game, which is why I am strictly taking off points. Yourself, sir?
Well, the thing is, a lot of people have gripes over, well, yeah, it handles like crap, and you can only hold 2 guns at a time, and stuff like that. This game has been in the works for 14 years, and sure, Gearbox could have picked up the game, been like, okay, well, see you later, 3D Realms. We're going to rebuild Duke Nukem Forever. Sure, it'll take us another year and a half, and we're going to, pump it out as like a brand new game, and it's going to be completely overhauled. But we didn't get that. We got the actual game. We got Duke Nukem Forever like it was supposed to be. I mean,
and now they can work on the next one.
Exactly. I would absolutely take Duke Nukem Forever as it is over a complete overhaul that maybe slightly feels like what Duke was supposed to be.
This still has echoes of a very old game, though. There's certain game mechanics where you're like, ooh, didn't really touch that.
But I like that though. Like that's how the game was meant to be. Like I understand it's not.
It feels like a Duke Nukem game. But that being said, the last one we played was in the '90s, right? So
yeah.
Unless you played the Xbox Live releases or Critical Mass on the DS. So what do you score Duke Nukem Forever?
Well, there are other things to consider here too. I mean, we have loading times in the game
are atrocious.
They're horrible. Even by a 14-year-old game standards, like you can't tell me this couldn't have been worked.
Also, it's one of those cases where a game's like clearly not excelling in the graphics department. Clearly doesn't have a lot going on for it on that side of things. Why is the loading screen so long? And why do checkpoints have to load? Like, if you die in a boss fight, you're looking at a 50-second loading screen, which doesn't sound like a lot. It's under a minute, but when you're sitting there waiting, 50 seconds is a very, very long time. PC loading times are better,
Yep.
so if you can, please play it on PC. It's worth it for those loading screens, man. But
the level design as well was one of the things that I had a couple issues with. But it felt like reminiscent of Duke Nukem. Where
3D platforming, lots of 3D platforming.
Yeah. The way that the levels are laid out, it's something that you don't see in shooters nowadays. It's very point A to point B. Duke Nukem is very much completely the opposite, where you have a far more complex place that you're working through in areas that it doesn't even look like you should be able to get through. That's actually where you have to go. Because it's just
especially when you're mini Duke, when you get shrunk.
Yeah, you wouldn't even think that that's the way you have to go, but it is, and that's such a dated style of game that you don't have nowadays.
It's nostalgic.
It's exactly that's kind of the whole feeling throughout the game. I just felt like I was playing a better looking Duke 3D with a different story, obviously.
Yeah.
But that being said, the length of the game, I mean, it's like 10 hours, man. You don't get that in shooters. I cooked through Modern Warfare 2 in like 5 hours. Like, it's I don't know. There's definitely a lot in the game. It doesn't look nearly as bad as you would think. Yeah.
Some of the textures and stuff is
it's not amazing. Yeah, exactly. There's a little bit of popping, but like the weapons, it's all classic Duke weapons. It's all the same jokes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Slightly dated, but again.
Yeah, still misogynist.
But yeah, I mean, scoring something like this depends on your mindset. Personally,
How much fun you had with it? Because I mean, a game can be dated as hell, and look at something like Geometry Wars. Geometry Wars stands up this generation as one of the funnest, most replayable games there is out there. But we'll look at what you have. You have shapes shooting at one another. So if you can score that on the same scale that you score Call of Duty, you can score this game based on its amusement factor compared to games of its time and shooters of its time. Replayability is a problem in this game, and that after you beat the campaign, not a whole lot to do unless you get into the multiplayer, but who knows how long people will actually be playing that. As with most shooters that aren't Battlefield or Call of Duty or your Left 4 Deads, people are going to move on. You got to own a piece of gaming history here. It's Duke Nukem Forever. This is it. It's here. It's now. And I'm going to quickly refer to my phone because I had the exact points as to why I'm scoring it what I did.
In the meantime, though, based on the price point and the loading times and some of my frustrations with the actual design of the game, I give it a 7 out of 10, which is still high because I enjoy Duke Nukem. I love the humor, and this was pretty much exactly what I expected it to be. If you thought this was going to be the best game you've ever played, you were fooling yourself. Completely fooling yourself.
But the idea is the game thinks it is the best game you'll ever play.
But
and that's part of the charm.
Part of the fun, yeah.
Duke Nukem, if we start at 10 out of 10, loading times, that's 1 point off. Regenerating health in a Duke Nukem game. Where's my body armor and my health? That bothered me for some reason. 2 weapons at a time. I don't know, man. I just remember back like pushing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like you had weapons for each one of those. You collect ammo all the time, and it needs more Duke. We need more lines. Just barrage me with them until I can't take it anymore. Is what this game needed. So I scored a 6 out of 10, above average. If you like Duke, if you don't, again, this is a very weird case here. Where if you have no attachment to the character, you don't care that it's been in development for 14 years, avoid this game. You're not going to like it. It's just not your bag. Duke Nukem Forever is finally here. It's reviewed. It's in the bag. That's it. We've put it to bed. We're looking forward to what Gearbox does with the franchise next.
Which they do leave open for sequels and stuff in the credits. Which
I'm running for president.
Yeah.
Hail to the king, baby.
18 then it's on. I don't give a shit if you live with your mom. I know you heard about me.
Kick ass.
Hey, little lady, don't say maybe. Even I can leave right now. Let's get naked, shake your money maker, baby. I'ma show you how.